Up 2-0, headed to Dallas, no Kristaps Porzingis. It would have been human nature for the Boston Celtics to take their foot off the gas. And in the first half, maybe they did, at least in the first quarter. Then a monster third quarter, and the Celtics pull away, and then don't pull away, and then ultimately win against the Dallas Mavericks. They now have the famous, the infamous, the 3-0 finals lead, the insurmountable lead in the NBA Finals, at least according to history. John Karalis, who has never found a challenge insurmountable, over at Locked On Celtics. He's in the arena for us. And John, what was it in the third quarter that seemed to set off with Boston?
I think the Celtics were kind of on the verge of that kind of performance for a lot of the first half. They were just a couple of missed reads, a couple of settling for jumpers. You felt like almost like if you just dialed it in a little bit, they were like right there. And then in the third quarter, they came out and they were doing that right away. They kind of knew where they wanted to get the ball. They had that Mavericks defense on a string, and it was just the kind of execution that you're used to seeing from the Boston Celtics. And talking to people around here at halftime, down one, a lot of Celtics people felt really good taking that huge monster hit from the Mavs. They're like, God, if you just get Jaylen just kind of wakes up a little bit, if Derek White can just wake up a little bit, we'll be good. And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, Jaylen Brown woke up on the face of four different Mavericks on the way to the rim in the second half there, and finished the game with 30 points. He and Tatum both 30 points in this one. It was the first Tatum scoring game. What was different about Tatum in this one for you?
Look, I feel like it's just a matter of shots falling for him. I've been saying that the first couple of games for him, especially game 2, I liked the shots that he was getting. They just weren't falling, and he took a lot of the same shots. The one thing about the Celtics is it's been consistency for them, that they have played the game very similarly over the course of 3 finals games here. And the Mavs have changed things up, and the Celtics have been affected by that, and the games have looked different, but they've tried to do the same things. And I think with Tatum, some of it was just the shot just wasn't falling. And in this game, some of those did. He was still aggressive. He was still moving the ball. And then the combination of that and Jaylen kind of not settling for shots. He had 6 points at halftime, and then he just went off for 15 in the third quarter. It's all about playing the right way, according to Joe Mazzulla. Getting to where you need to go on the floor, reading the defense, and figuring out, am I scoring here or am I passing here?
Without Kristaps Porzingis, the Jays handled the burden of the scoring. But were you surprised at how effective this Boston defense remained, given how integral KP has been to what this defense can do, especially taking away lobs at the rim, things like that?
Yeah, I'm not surprised, and I don't want to sound like a jerk when I say that, but because of the process, it's been very plug and play. Now, early on when they went to Xavier Tillman, I wasn't sure if that was the move, but I'm getting to the point where I'm not going to question Joe Mazzulla about much anymore. They went to a lot more switching, and it wasn't quite as effective as it has been, but it was effective enough. But once again, the Celtics are playing maybe some of the most disciplined basketball of the season right now. They know what the game plan is, and they are sticking to it. And you're seeing Luka Doncic not being able to finish. It's the one thing we keep hearing about the Mavs, and the one thing that we've seen about the Mavs wasn't it in the Timberwolves series where they were down in the final minutes of all of those games and they came back because they had the closers. They are not closing these games. Luka is not closing out these games. Kyrie is not closing out these games. They're missing because the Celtics defensive game plan is just take the hit from Luka early. It doesn't matter if he's scoring a bunch early. Just stick with it. The offense will do its job. And by the time it comes to close the game, Luka's not going to have it. And he fouled out of the game because he was just out of position. And it's been a brilliant defensive game plan from the Celtics, and it's been executed almost perfectly. And it kind of doesn't matter who's in the game or who's out of the game at this point. They're just going to keep doing it. And they're going to dare the Mavericks. Even now in game 4, they're going to dare the Mavericks. Like, if you're going to beat Boston in any game this series, it's going to be Luka having some sort of godlike moment down the stretch to summon some sort of energy that he hasn't been able to summon.
Stay up to date on the Boston Celtics by subscribing to Locked On Sports Today and Locked On Celtics on your favorite podcast app and on YouTube.